Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com on December 3rd, and I wanted to touch on several things today. I want to really dive into this longer term, what we call our swing chart, and look at how you can make some pretty good sense, bigger picture of the market with this chart. I want to look at the overnight chart. I want to talk about gap fills. But before I do that, I wanted to tell a quick story, and I'm just going to bring up this is a 3-minute chart of the YM, or the mini Dow. And I just wanted to, the reason I bring it up is because we got a really nice note from one of our members today, and I think it might apply to a lot of the people that are watching this. We've seen it time and again that it can be the case. But basically, this gentleman, he's been with us for a little while, but he's an experienced trader. He does pretty well, and he made the comment how you see so much stuff on the market to help traders, so-called to help traders, but he'll rarely, if ever, buy any kind of a tool. He's only going to do so if he can really see the benefits and the value of doing so. But that he was really happy that he bought our tool, and that it's really paid off for him in a big way. He gave an example today. He just happened to send a chart today. That he likes to trade gap fills, and I want to talk about this on the ES chart as well, but he likes to trade gap fills. But the words he used were kind of hope and guess prior to using this, knowing that you do have probability on your side when you're going for the gap fill. But with this, what he is looking for is either some aggression in favor of the gap fill, or in this case, like we had today, a nice deceleration here on this bar, so that's giving him kind of the added confidence on his gap fill that's really made a big difference in his profitability on that type of a setup. Another thing that he uses, and I won't pretend to know much about this, I don't trade waves, but he's a wave trader, and he has a software program that he uses to trade waves. But what he has found, again, is that when he can get additional confirmation, additional evidence with our software, that it really pays off, and he's got really high probability. And I think he said he made $2,300 on a trade here, but on the YM, he had one of his wave levels right about in here. Okay, and so what happened is, when the market tested this wave pattern, he was looking for some kind of confirmation, and again, he had the strong filter on his side. He had the resistance zone that was there on his side, and these decelerations. So when these decelerations, I think he got in right here, when this deceleration had its low taken out, again, he already had a method that he liked. He was using some kind of a wave program, but this just gave him that added confidence and added other pieces of evidence that helped him pull the trigger. And so I just wanted to pass that along, because we have seen time and time again that's he's doing this exactly like what we hope people will use. Let me give a little context on that, I guess. You can use this in many different ways. I personally use this software tool mainly as a standalone, so it's about all that I look at. I look at some market profiles, but this is about all that I look at, and I'm just trading off of the evidence that's with this, and that certainly works, and certainly works for a lot of people. But what we've also often found time and time again is that for the certain type of trader, and you may be this type of a trader, that you may have a method, or you may have something that you're using that you like, but you're finding that you're just minorly profitable, or perhaps you're break even, or perhaps you're just not quite getting the results that you think you should be getting with that method. When you combine it, in that case, with this tool, so you can wait and pass on the setups that don't have other confirmation or confirming evidence that you might see with this software, and really wait for those setups that not only give you good evidence on the Day Trade the Market software, but also confirm that potential setup that you're thinking about taking with the other method that you might be using. What we've seen time and time again is that can be kind of the missing piece, or the missing link, to really take you from one stage of your trading to the next. So from being a break-even trader to a profitable trader, or being somewhat profitable to being highly profitable. And I think that's great. I think a lot of times, and the reason I'm saying this is, number one, I just wanted to pass that along, and number two, I think it's important to clarify how you can use this. You can use this as a standalone, like I said, but it's not the only way you can use it. It's also really, really beneficial for people that use it as more of a decision aid, so helps them stay out of a potential bad trade, or helps them take a little bit more confidence into a potential good trade. So I just wanted to touch on that. Beyond that, I wanted to look at a couple of things here. why don't we look at the overnight chart, just kind of set this day up, so to speak. This is the overnight chart, and you can see we just opened up a new session here, but this is the overnight chart from the overnight heading into this morning. And so I'm on Eastern time, so I've got it to stop. It stops for me at 9:30 right in here Eastern time. But what you can see here is that I suppose you could trade this on the overnight, but what it's telling you here is you've got some pretty good buying aggression coming in, and we're staying between the levels pretty nicely. When we test these levels, it's testing pretty nicely, and what that's showing us is that heading into the open, it did get a little more volatile, you can see here, but heading into the open, bulls were pretty much in control, and you could see that we were going to have a gap up situation. We were going to gap up when we opened. Now when we also look at what we call our swing chart, or a 60-minute chart, and just to give a little context, I can roll this back here to, you can roll it back a year if you want, but if you just look at going back to basically the start of August, when our filter down here went green, there were some nice potential, a couple ways you can use this for some potential swing type of trades, or for example, if you got in here around the 1345, 1350, the market obviously headed up quite a bit and stayed in our green filter, stayed that way for several months. It wasn't until October or so where the market started to show some weakening. For example, here, the beginning of October, we had our filter go dark red, our support zone, which it held here, and we had a 30-point move from here to here, turned over from green to red. We tested in there between 1395 and 1400, and certainly sold off 45, 50 points from that place. And one thing you can do if you are using this to swing trade, to hold trades for, this was a matter of a week or two, you can wait until you see, here's a selling aggression bar. We didn't have any evidence that buyers were coming into the market until this bar down here on about the 16th or 17th, when you could, a pretty sensible place to place a stop would be a few points above the high of this bar, so you get taken out in here if you did happen to be a swing trader. But beyond that, what I wanted to talk about here is that you can see there hasn't been great order flow showing us that bulls are back in control. We've been in a neutral filter here, bigger picture, since the last week or 10 days of November, but we've been kind of creeping up toward this resistance zone here. And overnight, as you saw in the prior chart, you can see that we did test into that bigger picture resistance zone. So that's something to be aware of when you're heading into the day. So then we go back to our 60-minute chart, and on the bigger picture chart, we gapped up in here, and we happened to decelerate. That didn't come in for an hour, obviously, because it's a 60-minute chart. But that the gap up, if you like to trade gaps, the gap up is certainly into a bigger picture resistance area. So you have to be thinking that's a pretty good opportunity on a bigger picture level. And then if we go to the 1-minute chart here, you can see same thing. We gapped up. We're into that bigger picture resistance zone, and do you just blindly get into a gap? I guess you could, and a lot of stats will show that works out. But if you can have the patience to wait for some kind of evidence, whether it's selling aggression or in this case some deceleration to come in, it's going to increase your edge. So just wanted to kind of point that out because it kind of tied in with what one of our members said today, and hopefully that makes sense. But if we take a little bit closer look at the 1-minute chart here in the ES today, you can see again we decelerated, had a level 2 selling bar, and again this is our first major structure of the day, and I always like to look at what the first major structure does. Do we get follow through below it, or do we get rejection above it? And we want to ask ourselves, does the high, if it's a selling bar, does the high hold? You could see the market tested within 2 ticks of within 1 tick of the high, actually right there, decelerated. It certainly held. We took out the low. So at that point, we've got to assume that the bears are pretty strongly in control. Same scenario happened here with this level 3 selling bar. So we want to ask ourselves, do we have follow through or do we have rejection? And can this level 3 selling selling bar, can its high hold? And it certainly did. In fact, that's one of the trades that we like to talk about, is what we call a level 3 retracement. So you have a level 3 bar, and as soon as that forms, place an order to sell right at the high of that bar, and you can see that worked out nicely from this area in here around the 14-16 area or so. So then you can see that we continue selling off. Here's another level 3 selling bar, level 2 selling bar. We don't quite test this level 3 selling bar's high. We do test this level 2 selling bar's high. Happens to be at also a resistance area. So just wanted to kind of point that out. But the main point of the video today, I wanted to give you a little bit of a look at the swing trading chart, and how you could use that for, entering swing trades, obviously, but also for helping you win your day trading, and how that could lead into looking at gaps and finding good scenarios that can help. And also wanted to talk about, because I know this is probably, if you're watching this video, you're probably a relatively serious trader, and you're always looking for a way to increase your edge. I mean, if you're looking for the holy grail, some magic system that's just going to pop up on your computer, when to get short, when to get long, this isn't going to be for you. But if you're looking for, really high quality market driven data that can give you more evidence to help you make better decisions, then certainly it's something that we should talk about, because I really think it's going to help, and our feedback is overwhelmingly positive on that sense. So let us know if you have any questions on that, and hopefully you have a great trading day on Tuesday, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.